Guys, thanks for joining. Appreciate you all taking the time to be here. We are having the pleasure of having the person who is behind Crypto Genius Bot here, Joachim, who will be joining us and explaining to us the transparency of this particular bot and where it is going forward, what is the background, how it is being backed, so forth and so on. So, Joachim, the purpose of this particular call was basically to answer whatever questions we had in general, see the transparency that the company is going to provide, and thus basically ensure that where we are is where we should be, and obviously give us a more further understanding of how to actually invest more with the confidence that we need.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So why don't we start off with this? Joachim, if you could possibly do us all a favor and give us a little bit of background of yourself, that would be really appreciative.
Okay. I'm German born, 60 years old. Been involved in a few things over the years, in the car trade and the building trade and marketing and everything else, finance, and come across this technology that is, you're talking about the house building stuff, obviously with a building background for yourself, and it's walls and doors and bench tops and all applications of the house building that is made out of industrial waste. So to refine that, there's a joint venture with a German company called Eisenmann, and they've invented a machine where everything goes into a hopper and it sorts it into all different categories depending on what application is being used. You know, whether it's a house wall, a house door, a kitchen bench, or a shelf, or whatever. Mm-hmm. And you know, what strength's needed, what gauge is needed, and whether it's got to be fireproof or just a wall or a shelf that doesn't need to be fireproof. And that comes out like a sausage machine out of a panel, and it cures, and it's unbreakable. And it's textured or painted to whatever texture and colour and applications needed. That's the short-term, quick answer to what the whole process is. And then on top of that, it's the plant that we're building or going to be building is going to build around 70,000 houses or more per annum. And that's what we're looking to fund and apply everything to. And that also, you know, people that, or companies with industrial waste, they pay us to remove it. So from the start of the, you know, a site that might have industrial waste, a truck picks it up, it all goes to the plant, which a plant size is somewhere around the 7 to 8 acres. You know, when you combine the building and the sorting and the whole application, and it goes there and goes through the process of being graded and into the thing, and then it goes and gets made to whatever panel it's applied to. And that'll employ between 15 and 15,500 people per plant, and at a cost of around $500 million US a plant. And there's one planned for Sassnitz in Germany, another one in Geelong in Melbourne, another one in Alabama in the United States. So you probably know where Alabama is.
Mm-hmm. I do.
Okay, yeah. That seems to have a high need of housing and a high unemployment because this is engineer driven, where it's a pretty simple thing to teach the people of what's got to be done because it's all robotized, you know, all the wall. It's not so much manual work with people, it's just watching machines and going through the processes and making sure that everything's okay, you know.
All right.
So that gives you a bit of a background to it. And that's, you know, the houses are built between 6 and 12 days from start to finish. So from when they leave the factory, that's livable within 6 to 12 days, finished.
Interesting. So, okay. So let me say this to tie in with the company itself. So I heard that, and again, I wasn't privy to any of the calls previously. However, I heard that Wes and Lisa were saying that the company is also going to provide up to around possibly 15,000 jobs.
15 to 15,500 jobs, yes.
Yep. And so that is basically through the warehouses and other things that you will basically establish?
It's all in one centre. Each centre is, between 7 and 10 acres. 7 to 8 acres is a general term. So let's say if you say 10 acres, there's a plant, you have to see the proper plan of everything, of where it comes in, the offices, the building, the sorting, the warehousing, and Laurie, best if one of those things is sent to these people so that they know.
Yeah, well, that's what I was just about to throw in there. There's a 10-page document, Pete, that we're just waiting on the approval to release, so that it doesn't breach any NDAs.
Okay.
And I'm going to make that available to yourself, obviously, and who you can then distribute through to whoever you need to distribute through, but also to Wes and Lisa. So we're hoping to get the approval to release that. I'm hoping at some point today.
Awesome. That would be absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
So let me go through a series of questions
Okay.
that I have here. Let me just get to my email. Okay, so some of them are more along the lines of simple, and some of them are a little bit more complex. So let's start with the more simple ones. So one of the questions basically from one of my leaders was, Joachim, will you have a Telegram account as well as a support account for the bot itself?
It already has one.
It already has one.
Yeah, there is a support channel for the bot. Over the last couple of days, because the bot's been running some serious updates and changes and all the rest of it, obviously we've muted support in the throes of that. Joachim already does have a Telegram account. However, there is already a support channel. It's actually on the bot. If you go into support on the bot and click it, it takes you straight to the support page on Telegram.
Right, and as I said, some of these questions are, much so more self-explanatory than anything else, but hearing it publicly, seeing it on a Zoom just gives people more clarification.
Yeah, no, that's fine, Pete. No problem.
Can you provide any proof of investments?
The investment this again, and sorry if I keep saying again, it's just that a lot of these questions have already been raised, obviously by not your group. So at the moment, there was a question put forward to both Joachim and myself the other day about providing a report, which will outline a variety of different structures, and that is investments, revenue, so on and so forth, in an outline. That we're hoping to have that prepared and finalised and vetted by Joachim himself by Tuesday.
Okay, great. Is there...
And again, it'll be provided to you and you for your distribution, Pete.
Right, understand completely. Is there a phone number, any kind of phone number that we could contact should we need to for any kind of further clarification, like through, or was that basically just kind of going through you, Laurie, so that you can reach Joachim and basically so?
No. I've got no problem with, and Joachim's already made this quite clear. Joachim's got no problem in me providing, say, someone like yourself with his number at all. Wes and Lisa already have Joachim's number. So does Chris Arena. So there's Joachim's had no problem in providing that.
Awesome, that's great. Another question was, I don't know if he does, but Joachim, do you have an actual Facebook account or just Telegram?
No, I don't. I don't have a Facebook account. I've never had one.
That's okay. That's fine with me. And I know there supposedly is going to be a website coming up soon. Yes?
That's
yes.
Right. Now let me explain that. Because basically most of that is Joachim sort of handballed that over to me to organise. Now the website again is just about finished. Basically, what we wanted to put on there was actual fact and not hopes and dreams. So realistically, at the moment, the website is about 95% complete. We've got a target of providing all this stuff by Tuesday. Website, outline of company, revenue, investments, and so forth. And also, we had the draft copy provided yesterday of the terms and conditions, which again will be vetted over the next day, and we'll provide it on Tuesday once we try and launch that website. Now, the only issue, and it's something I just want to make clear for everybody at this point in time, is that for a website to be, in Yoakim's belief, and I tend to agree, for a website to be effective, it has to be true and it has to be real. There's no point in putting anything on there that, we wish we can do. So therefore, again, getting back to what I said earlier, the NDAs and the approval from different people to allow us to publicly put that on a website has all been sought. We're just waiting for the relevant answers, and then the content will be finalised and then put on the webpage.
Okay. Awesome.
There's certain patents, that just to expand on that a little bit, there's patents and that are sort of very, very secretive formulas, as you would imagine.
No, I understand that. I understand that completely. Lori and I had spoken about another company that I'm actually affiliated with, and in that company, we have the same thing where we have intellectual property. So there are certain things that we cannot reveal. So I understand exactly and completely how that works.
And the other, if I can just add something, Pete, just quickly. Sorry, I don't want to steal your thunder here, but
please go ahead.
There's a number of people involved in a group of these projects and the different things that Yoakim's company is involved in. That when we actually sat down and explained to them what we're doing, they didn't understand. So there has been over the last few days a lot of education with various influential people that are behind joint ventures and so forth to try and get a grip of what we're actually doing. And I mean that's all been all good now. So there wasn't just a matter of saying, oh, listen, we're just going to put this on this page and they didn't understand it. So we've spent a fair bit of time, demonstrating to people what we're actually doing, how this is all going to pan out, what is Bitcoin in some of them, because some of them just sort of went, what? So, all that education has had to have taken place because as you know, we can't just take someone's patent and splash it all over our website without their consent,
Right.
and also effectively not breaching any joint venture agreement.
No, I understand that, and that makes total sense. So, question, is the company itself, and I believe it is, just give me a little refresher. Joachim, you could probably answer this, and Lori too, one of you. Is the company registered? Where is the company? The company is registered in, is it Germany?
In
No.
Australia, Germany.
Australia.
Well, there's different parts of the company that are all over the world. And as I said to you, I'm a resident in Germany and a resident in Australia. So I live in both places. And the company is in Germany, and the main intellectual property is held in Germany. And there's a division that will be the USA, and a division will be in Germany, obviously, the main outfit, and Australia.
Got it. Okay, so there was a talk that I believe Chris was telling me in a voice message that he left me that, really that you're earning 9% a day. How is that being established if there is no actual mining that is going on? Because there is not, correct?
No, there's not, and this was addressed last night as well. The company has various business interests at the moment, joint ventures that are active. One of the particular investment strings that it has is in the coffee industry. Some time ago, Joachim and his company basically made an offer to buy out one of Victoria's largest coffee roasters and suppliers. And at this stage, there's still active agreements in place with regards to the distribution and sale of that. So the company has probably at the moment, Joachim, 4 revenue streams that you would say would be valid.
Yeah.
Obviously, you guys all would know that coffee is a very good gross profit percentage earner. But in light of what I said to them is that the company at this point in time.
Charge for me to hear the volume.
Sorry.
No.
No,
No.
I thought someone was saying something. So pretty much at this point in time, that the company with its revenue streams that it has can justify what A, the bot is paying, B, what it needs to do the balance of the projects forthcoming, and also substantiate the return for investors on this particular project being the Genius Bot. So it's not just that the company is sitting back waiting for this Genius Bot to generate an income. It's already got active incomes, which will be obviously displayed on that report, which we hope to release on Tuesday.
Okay, great. So let me go a little bit further. So the company itself, as we heard and we know, that they're registered with in different places in the United States and Germany and Australia, get that. Are you registered with any financial body to receive any kind of investment capital?
Okay, this was again a question raised last night. Should have had you on last night, Pete.
Sorry.
No, you're right. The company has an affiliation with a company called City Gold Corp. Has a joint venture stream with that. Through that joint venture stream, the company has negotiated the use of the AFS license, which is the Australian Financial Services license. At this point in time, the agreements are being drawn up between those two entities, being Yoakams and City Gold. And that should be effective again between midway through this week to enable that to be provided to whoever wants to see it, I guess.
Okay, awesome. And this is actually quite an important question, but how has the recycling company, Yoakams Recycling Company, been able to be profitable when there are so many other recycling companies that are having financial difficulty? Is that because of the fact, let me add to this, is that because of the fact that there are 4 revenue streams that you have and that's given you the capability to do so?
Joachim, I'll leave that one to you, man.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, we don't just do one thing. It's coffee, there's gold selling and mining, and there's the finance industry and the auto industry. So there's long-term things that have been going on for 30 years.
So when you say selling mining, you're referring to gold?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Just wanted to make that very clear. Okay. Will there be an audit done on the company and its profitability and longevity?
Part of the AFS not recommendations, but requirements insist on that being undertaken. The company obviously has accountants and also has auditors, which will be doing those reports on a quarterly basis, I believe.
What is that noise?
I don't know. That's why I thought someone was saying something before.
Hang on. What is that? Hey, Scott and Timmy, can you move out, please? Hang on. What the heck? Hang on. Whew. All right. Lori, Yoakum. Oh, it's Yoakam's phone.
Is it?
I think. Oh, nope. Now it's okay. Might have been his connection. Okay. So continue. Sorry, Lori.
So part of the requirements in order to satisfy all the requirements of an AFS, that sort of procedure needs to be undertaken on a regular basis. So at this stage, I think that the plan is to undertake quarterly audits, and that obviously has to be submitted to the body that regulates the AFS license number. So obviously those reports have to be made public to anyone that requests them. Our plan is to make them public by way of publicity on the website and making them available for people on there.
Okay, I get that. So this is actually another important question that had been raised by a few different people, and you may have answered it, you may not have, so I apologize if it's a repeat, but why is there such limited information available on Google, LinkedIn, etc., on the business and people involved within the Berlin Group?
Can you just repeat that, Peter? I lost a bit when you said important question.
Yep, sorry, I will repeat one more time. Why is there such limited information available on Google, LinkedIn, etc., on the business and people involved within the Berlin Group?
Okay, well, that was an issue that was raised when we first started talking about this bot idea. Okay. Now, I guess the answer, and Joachim can expand on this, is that a lot of these ideas outside of the income streams that have been generated, it was more or less an issue that a lot of the stuff was not able to be made public, as far as, you know, again, non-disclosure arrangements and so on. However, up to and including probably 12 months ago, the company, and I'm not going to say this without any disrespect to the man himself, but a lot of people that are older, you know, do not sort of go down the path of websites and Google and LinkedIn and Facebook, as Joachim's made a mention already. There is no Facebook for him. So one of the things I identified to them very early in the piece was exactly what you've just raised, is that if you want to proceed in a marketplace where people, you know, are going to invest in any idea, be it a bot or be it, you know, through a public raising situation, or anything, they're going to want to know who the company is. And part of the reason why Joachim sort of brought me into this was to basically put that and make that all happen. So, like I said, with no disrespect to Joachim whatsoever, that's something that I believe that needs to happen, and needs to happen very quickly. But he can probably tell you the reasons why. But I tend to agree that, you know, there is very limited information, and that needs to change.
Right.
Yeah, just to, I don't know whether for my video is not working for some reason, but it says I'm still on there. So if you can hear me, you know, I don't have Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn, but I've never had Facebook or Instagram or anything. And the amount of people that, I mean, through Facebook, Laurie, as you know yourself, you know, with Instagram and all that, I've never been on it. I've never used it. And if you think it's a good idea that I should do it, we should do it, you know, fine, I'll do it. But I've never seen the need to publicly publicise everything and the goings on of everything. So I don't know. You know, I understand that Facebook's around and everyone all over the world can do different things, and Instagram and post this and post that. I hear my children doing different things, and you know, but I've never been one to do that and needed to do that. So
no, there's nothing wrong with that, but you know, I think for the people that maybe could not be here, you know, for the smaller people that are not really builders, for them to see the owner being public on either Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn or the company being that way, I think it just made it easier for people. But it's not as to say that this is something that you have to do. But let's put it this way. Should you want to attract an audience that's a younger generation, it would probably be more towards your benefit to do so.
Okay. What do you think of that? All that, Laurie? You there, Laurie?
Oops.
Oh, there you go.
Oh yeah, he's muted. Hang on. Or unmute yourself, Laurie.
I've unmuted. There you go. As I've said before, I tend to agree with Peter in regards to this, and obviously the claims that you know that other people have made. I mean, Joachim, you've got to get with the times in the sense that it is what it is now. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, there's no privacy in public life anymore. It's got to be out there. And as I said, I've been poaching hard for the company to do that. And I think hopefully now that you've heard it from Pete, it's something that, you know, that needs to happen.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so the next set of questions that I have, it's only a few, but the next set of questions are really pertaining to, and before I even say this, I do want to very specifically say that, Joachim, I really do appreciate you, A, taking the time to be here for a number of us, not just myself and our team, but other people as well, and being as transparent as you possibly have been. It has really been a breath of fresh air, because this is really not anything that we've seen in any other bot that is out there. And I'll be honest with you, I'm the main admin of another bot that is out there right now. And even that bot, I know the owner's name, I know how old he is, I know maybe where he's from. I've never seen a picture of him, I've never seen a Facebook profile, nothing like that. And so for you to actually come out and do this, there's literally only one other bot out there, and I'm not trying to compare, but there's only one other bot out there, and that's called Cryptonacity. And the person who owns that is Nate Jaceman. And he is very public. He has a Facebook profile. He has a Telegram account. So my point is, if you want to be on par with him, plus giving your ability of having this bot backed by a real company with a real purpose, you will be one step ahead just by putting a Facebook profile up.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Okay. I've got ex-wives and all that. Would love to know. So.
Okay. So now
look, how I've normally, being from Germany, right?
Yeah.
And living in Australia and lived in America.
Yeah.
I've got family in banking in the West Coast, and they've been with Bank of America for a long time, and they're in the mortgage business there. And there's quite a side of it involved, and it's the same name family. It's my direct cousin, first cousin, and I'm regularly in America. And what we normally do in Europe and even America, and we show our passport of who we really are, and Facebook and all that really has never been even a mention in the circles that we're dealing, even up to now. You know, like some of the people involved with this aren't on Facebook and never probably will be. But then on the other hand, we've got certain agreements, known people out of America that I can't say their names, just to anyone that hasn't signed an NDA with us. Do you know what I mean?
Nope,
and
I hear you.
Maybe if there's some harder questions, that you need to satisfy your people or yourself, you can give me a call directly. And, you know, Laurie, however you give my number is fine. You can ring me directly and speak to me. There's no problem, you know. I have the same phone number for 30-something years, you know.
No, I do appreciate that. And the last set of my questions.
And I've got a number in Germany as well, you know. So I've got a permanent residence in Germany and Australia, you know.
Perfect. I do a lot of my communication through Skype because it's just a cleaner phone call than Facebook, I've found. And it's easier.
Okay, I've got that as well.
Easier to communicate with people around the world. Okay, so last set of questions. All the other bots that are out there, iCenter, all these other bots, not trying to compare, but everyone has said that the most sustainable bot really is iCenter because it's between 1.2 and 1.4%. So what scares people the most about this bot is the fact that it's 2.8% and could possibly offer, from what I heard, up to even 6% at a later date. So what everyone wants to know, and the burning question is, how are you going to maintain that sustainability?
Amen. Are you there?
Joachim?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Well, as I explained to you, the bot, I don't know where the lorry's there, I can't hear him. The whole understanding of that system
I'm here now.
is sort of out of my control. Laurie, I don't know, did you hear that question?
Yeah, I did. So basically, what I was going to say,
Of all that.
yeah, that's it. So when we first sat down with the relevant accounting firms to put this together and to work out how this return was substantiated, we got three different questions. We put three different questions to three different entities, and we got the same answer. The same answer was that at this point in time, with the company revenue streams, it could not substantiate any return above 3%. Okay. So in looking at what was being offered at iCenter and all the rest of them, and obviously we all know crypto trading bots at 4% or 4.2%, whatever it is.
Right.
2.8% was where, based on the current company revenue, now not based on future revenue, based on the current revenue, 2.8% was substantiated and basically would be substantiated for the period of time. What was said to Wes and Lisa in regards to future, the question was asked as to where do we see the returns for the company in the future? The company in the future, with based on its forecasts, and basically what was said was that based on its forecasts, it could look at potentially a rate of return on the bot at 6%. Now, that could be in 2 years, it could be in 2.5 years, it could be in 12 months. But at this point in time, we've punched in figures at 2%, 2.8, 3.5, 4.5, 5%, and 6%. And realistically, and this is what this bot's all about, is being realistic, 2.8% is what the company can substantiate on its present revenue returns.
Okay. So basically, the main thing behind that is not, and I'm not saying anything against you, Lori, I'm not saying anything against you, Joachim, but anybody can actually, right, say that verbally, but to provide the actual proof behind it, which is where what you were saying previously in this conversation, correct? That will be provided?
Absolutely. Yep.
Perfect. Awesome. So that's what really everyone's going to look for. And I think once they see that, then they'll see it's 100% transparent and nobody will have any issues. So
Yep.
that and one other question I had. In a down market, like we kind of sort of have right now, is that 2.8% still sustainable?
Okay, that as this question was touched on last night. Now, basically, the funds that are being put into CGB at the moment are being hedged. Okay, now the arrangement that's in place with the company that's managing that is that the rate of the hedging goes on the day of investment. So, if Bitcoin at the moment is at $7,200, don't quote me on that. That's just the figure I've just made up.
Mm-hmm.
If it's today and Peter goes in and puts in 1 Bitcoin and it goes into CGB, it is hedged today at $7,200, whatever the rate is today. So what that does is it basically maintains a rate so that if there's any downturn in the market, the investment rate at the time of invested is maintained, so that if there is a blow in the market where we all wake up tomorrow and it's at $3,000,
Mm-hmm.
the only investments that are affected by that $3,000 is whatever has been put in that day. So what that does is it gives stability to anyone that's investing at the market, where we're looking at well, some people might say it's a bear market. I tend to agree, but if it's anything that's gone in, for example, like whatever was put into this bot last night, and I'm not privy to that information, by the way, but whatever was put into this bot last night would have gone across into the hedge fund and basically secured at the rate of whatever Bitcoin was last night.
Nice.
Okay, now, if we ever wake up, if we wake up this morning and Bitcoin's at $5,000 and Peter's put it in last night, well, Peter wins at $7,000, and whoever's putting in today will be marketed and calculated at whatever the rate is today. So that was a method that was recommended to us in the very early stages to avoid market fluctuations. And I think at this stage, whilst there wouldn't be enough in CGB at the moment to have an expensive counter lunch somewhere, it's important that whatever deposit is made in there is protected, and that was the recommendations made, and that was the process that was followed.
Okay. The other thing, and honestly, to me, I don't believe it is, but a couple other people have raised the point that the way this bot was created was a copycat of crypto trading bot. I don't think it is, but Lori, can you shed some light on that situation?
Yes. Okay. Well, when it was first posed the other day, I actually sat down with the programmers and I said, right, show me how you've done this. Now, there's various templates that programmers have access to, and when I say templates, even down to the little icons that you see on the actual bots. Now, the template may be seen to be very similar. And I've got there's no defense against that. It seems to be similar to me. However, the coding has been coded by an individual source that has nothing to do with Crypto Trading Bot. And the coding, from what I'm seeing, is very, very different. So if you look at this at this point in time at the moment, and again, part of our transparency is being honest with people. The slowness of our bot compared to the rapidness of CTB's bot would shed light to anybody to say that the coding is different. If the coding was the same, we wouldn't be having the speed issues that we're having at this point in time.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
That makes total sense.
Well, that's how it was portrayed to me by a programmer. So,
right.
I mean,
That makes total sense. Now, Joachim, this question is for you. Getting back to the company side of things, Wes and Lori touched on the point of wildlife conservation and how that's important. So how is the company actually doing that to help in that case going forward?
Obviously, Wes was wildlife. I don't understand what you mean with that. What we've done nothing with that at the moment. The part with wildlife is sea life, as far as the cleanup of the oceans of the plastics and waste that's generally in the ocean, in the Pacific Ocean. If you look at what's there per square kilometre, there's a fair bit of, there's 23% plastic in the ocean in the major cities in the Pacific Oceans,
Correct.
Now, those figures will only be getting more and more because no one's actually reducing. Well, they've stopped using shopping bags in Australia now, but they're not happy about it. The throwaway one use only bag. But that's why I say to you, there's certain things that are still so. I'm not able to just, because we haven't got an agreement in place, but the cleanup of the oceans, there's some major people involved in setting that up, and they're world leaders and they're quite public. And this is one of the things why it's not on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and everything else. If you'd like to give me a call, then I can send you an agreement and we can sign it. I can talk to you direct as an investor.
Got it. Okay.
Do you understand what I mean?
I understand.
Because there's sensitive information that will be made public when the time comes, but it's sensitive at this point in time.
I understand.
And it involves very high level in governments,
Mm-hmm. I understand.
In your country as well as our country.
Right. I get that 100%. Okay, so that takes care of my questions. There are a few other people that are here. I don't want to let them not have a say. So Bears, Jason, Olga, Scott, any one of you guys, if you have any questions, please feel free to unmute yourselves one at a time and ask whatever questions you want. Okay. If nobody has any further questions, then I would like to say thank you so much, Joachim, for providing this transparency Thank you, Lori, for arranging this call. And Joachim, I look forward to speaking with you personally on the phone and talking to you a little bit more in detail about a few things.
Okay, you got my number, I guess. Laurie, do you want to give him my number, or
Yeah,
how do you do it in
I'll-
this system?
send-
Yeah, you can ring me straight away.
I'll send it to Pete.
Okay.
Yep. That sounds good. Thank you, guys. Really, really appreciate your time.
No worries.
Okay.
Thanks, Pete.